It's wonderful to welcome back Nicole Pabst, um, who envisioned this incredibly wonderful community garden that unfortunately is now surrounded by construction, but it still is an oasis in the midst of construction equipment. And but first of all, I'd like to ask you, Nicole, how are you? I know that you have been through COVID and you have, I think, recovered. You are back working, but tell us how you are,
I,
besides being sleepy because she finished work at 1:30 in the morning.
I'm good. Just getting back into things. It took about almost a little over. I'm finally starting to feel 100%. It took about 2 months to get there. After
Mhm.
having COVID and then developing pneumonia. But my pulmonologist says I'm good. I don't have to go back for another 6 months. There was some scarring and inflammation on the left lung that, will probably be permanent damage, but nothing I can't get over. Yeah.
Well, we're really happy that you're okay. We were
Me
concerned
too.
about you.
I'm happy I'm okay too.
um,
When? How old is she?
how old are
I'll
you, Nicole?
I'll be 30. I'll be 38 next month.
So you're very young. You're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
I'm very lucky. Yes, ma'am.
It's all in the eyes of the beholder. When I was 38, I thought I was very old. Now I
Yeah.
knew I was very young.
I, I, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm old, but
Yeah.
not today.
One of the tell us about the community garden and how it came about, because it was your vision to establish the community garden, and we know that from our last interview of you that you have been involved in coordinating the feeding program of homeless and working poor persons on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started doing the feeding program, and it's given a budget each week, and you're supposed to try and have a protein, a starch, a dessert, a salad, and a vegetable for not a whole lot of money. So I thought if I only started with a couple of beds that we could focus more on other things than vegetables, if I could grow fresh vegetables, and that way it's organic, it's locally grown, it's fresh, you can go pick it and then put cook right out of the garden. And then it kind of got bigger than I envisioned, and now we're up to 28 beds, and we're able to give fresh produce to another church as well as to our feeding program as well. So it's kind of cool. I
Um,
like it.
I'm gonna ask you in a second about what you've grown so far and what your future vision is, but I'd like you have some interesting stories to tell around how this garden, how this vision started to be, I think, blessed in a way in terms of the right people, the involvement of various groups to make it truly a community garden. And
Yeah.
I remember one story where you were working at your former job, and someone just basically said, "I'll help you get it started."
Yeah. So at my former job, I met this really nice couple who live in pretty close to Christ in St. Luke's, and they've become my friends. And I just was telling her one day that I wanted to just do a couple beds, and she wanted to help. And so she gave a pretty large amount of money to start it, because she too, she's not a member of Christ in St. Luke's, but she is a member of, she is, part of the Ghent community. And she wanted to help, and she wanted to help feed people. And so that's the way that she could do it, was to get it started. And she's continued to, over the year and a half that it's, started, to give money and
Mhm.
to, actually anything that I ask, if she'll give, like she's gonna buy some fruit trees um in the next couple of weeks to be planted around the garden as well. So it's amazing, and she wants to help any way she can. So.
And you also applied and received one or two grants.
hmm Vicki told me about a grant last year. It was called the Seed of Hope, and it was from the Virginia Diocese, and so we applied for that, and we were awarded it. And then right now I applied for another grant through the city of Norfolk, so I'm waiting to see if I'll get that as well.
Tell us a little bit about the initial work on the garden. I know you had to find a water source. You had to make some decisions on what to grow. Tell us that story.
Yeah, the water source was a little bit difficult, but David, the sexton, and I went over to United Methodist Church of Ghent and asked if they would let us use their water, and we could, I would pay them each month, but they donate their water to us because we are feeding people of the community, and so that was very helpful. And about the growing of the stuff, this is the first time I've ever gardened. So Mike and Laura, kind of, he was has a home garden, so he kind of set up, and
Mike Versakauskas and his wife Laura Spink.
Yeah, and so we planted. They gave me stuff to plant and stuff like that, or what to plant. And since there's a lot of sun, we're able to, 90% of the time it's in direct sunlight, so that's awesome to grow vegetables. So yeah, this summer we did eggplants, carrots, tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers. We have a bunch of different herbs in there. What else did we do? Yellow squash, zucchini, butternut squash, patty pan squash. I think, yeah, that's what we did this summer. And then on Thursday, a couple of friends and I just planted over 200 plants for our winter garden. So.
And what will be in your winter garden?
Oh man, onions, garlic, beets, carrots again, collard greens, Swiss chard, kale, mustard greens, what else? Brussels sprouts, snap peas. I think, is that it? No, turnips. I'm gonna try turnips. Yeah. And, a bunch of different types of lettuce, radicchio, arugula. Yeah, that's about it.
Wow, that's really remarkable. It's amazing. Initially, going back to that initial vision, one of the things that impressed me was that you were able to get a combination of people from various organizations, recovery community, LGBTQ center. So it was really a true community garden, a collaboration. Were there other organizations involved? You also had some people just walk by, I think, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of rounded up people I knew from different organizations and asked if it was something they'd be interested in. And everyone likes it, I mean, it's a good cause. And so, when you have a great vision or something's driven by the divine, people are more than willing to help. And I've noticed that, and so it's really cool because it's a bunch of different people that normally probably wouldn't associate with each other, and they're
Mhm.
able to find commonalities as opposed to differences because they have one objective and a goal, and that is to feed people. And and so it's really cool. And um I've seen some people that wouldn't associate now that are friends and talk, and that's kind of really cool. We're not just growing vegetables, we're growing friendships. And
That's
so
beautifully put. That's beautifully put. That that when we have a common mission and a common task that we're all passionate about, it brings us together, and differences don't matter in those particular situations.
yeah, it's really cool to see. I think that's one of the coolest things about the garden. And like last Sunday, someone that comes and gets vegetables at the soup kitchen food pantry that we have at Christ Luke and St. Luke's actually came and worked in the garden with me. And that was
Mm.
the coolest experience because that's what I always wanted, So,
Yeah, yeah, just to bring the various communities together.
mhm.
Well, it's an extraordinary gift to the community, and gift to Christ and St. Luke's. What have been your challenges in the community garden?
Weeds. Weeds are a big challenge. Um, we have a couple rabbits that like to come and eat stuff, but they're really
Mhm.
cute, so they can come. I don't care. Um, and then the summer months are difficult because it's so hot and no one wants to be out there, But a winter garden's actually easier because it's kind of self-sustainable. You don't have
Yeah,
to do as much. There's not as much weeds, and
yeah.
I guess that would be, I mean, and then, kind of like people lose willingness, they
Mhm.
get, and so it's kind of, but I would say that would be like the biggest challenges are the weeds and sometimes getting volunteers to come and weed. No one wants to do it. It's not that fun, but that's probably the biggest challenge. And then, yeah, that's about it.
If someone wanted to volunteer who hasn't worked in the garden so far, what should they do?
Um, they can email me or they can call me, anything. They can stop by. I just purchased a bunch of tools. Hopefully they're not stolen and they're always going to be left right. I got a hoe and a trowel and a aerator and some spades and stuff, and I like to leave them there, and if anyone can come at any time, I'm more than happy, and I will meet you there. I'm always available during the day because I work night. And yeah, and I would love if anyone wants herb, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Well, what we'll do, Emily, what's the best way to get Nicole's um, contact information out there?
You can email me at office@christandstluke's.org and I can connect you all.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Office at christandstluke's.org. The only uh, saint is not spelled out. Everything else is. Saint is ST. Thank you,
And it's on
Emily.
our website at Christ and
And
St. Luke.
it is on our website. Our website has is a treasure trove of information. And if you haven't seen it recently, it's undergone some great changes. Very user friendly. Lots of information. And so christandstluke's.org. If you haven't had a chance to kind of scroll through it, please do. It really is a great resource. Thanks to Emily and to Will Lee. Nicole, uh, I know that you have not been entirely alone in this. Who has been helping you with this?
um
What are some of the key people? Who are some of the key people?
Mike and Laura,
Mhm.
and then there's a couple people that probably you wouldn't know because they aren't members. I have
Mhm.
a lady that comes, and her and I are in the garden every Sunday morning for the last year at like 8 a.m. and we work for a couple hours. Her
Mhm.
name's Gudrun, and
I
she,
love Gudrun. She works with
yeah,
the Thursday feeding too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's and then some of my friends, Randy Gainey, he's a college professor at ODU, helped build the fence. Bill Moore, and he helped build the fence. And then another friend of Elijah and Jeremy and I, we hand built all those garden beds ourselves with donated wood.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
my friend Lisa came on Thursday and planted all those crops with me. Bob Renault has helped. He works at the church Mondays and Wednesdays. He came and helped planted some plants on Thursday as well. People from the community have came and watered. Yeah, so it's been a lot
And
of
I
help.
know, and I want to join you in giving a big shout out to Mike Versakauskas, assisted by his wife Laura Spink, while Nicole was ill. Mike kind of took over, and it was the heat of the summer, and he and Laura were kept it watered and kept it going while you were recuperating.
Yeah,
So they did a beautiful job.
yes,
Yeah. And you were interviewed by the newspaper.
yeah, I was. Yeah.
That had some ups and downs to it.
Yeah, I'm not a big, I mean, personally, I don't know if I like to put myself out there to the public,
Hmm.
but it generated donations for both
Hmm.
the soup kitchen and the garden, monetary, and then I got an email yesterday from their members, I believe, of Christ in St. Luke's, and they want to buy a new compost bin for the garden, a really fancy one, and they're going to come and install it. So the article did have,
Fantastic.
yeah, and so it did. I got a couple not so nice emails from people, but that's okay. There's always some not so nice person in the world, but for the most part, yeah, we were able to get donations, and also it got the garden and the soup kitchen recognition. And so I've noticed in the last couple weeks at the soup kitchen, we've been seeing an increase of new faces because they know that we are handing out like grocery bags and toiletries and stuff and vegetables. So that's kind of cool.
What do you need? Let's bring the two together since you mentioned them together. What are your needs for for Thursdays now, and what are your needs for the garden besides volunteers?
Well, that's about it for the garden, just because I did all the planting. It should just be
Mhm.
volunteers, but it's mostly in the summertime. Like I
Yeah.
said, the winter garden is pretty self-sustainable. Like it won't need to be watered or anything
Hmm.
after like Thanksgiving. Um, soup kitchen, it is getting colder, and so I'm was hoping to get more hearty stuff like those canned beef stews, like any soup with like chicken or just hearty stuff because it is going to get colder. And
Is it better to get the ones that don't need a can opener where they can just pop it open?
so it's so changed, the soup kitchen. So there's so many different components to it now. Um, so we have grocery bags for people who can have a kitchen to cook. Um, we have people who don't have a kitchen, the homeless people, and those are for the pop tops. But someone donated or bought and gave the soup kitchen a bunch of can openers, so that's kind of
Oh, that's
cool.
great.
Yeah. um and then we do the lunch, and then also we hand out toiletries now as well. So.
And we're still collecting those on Wednesdays from noon to 5. We have a cart out in the outer entrance, the just to the at the end of the walkway from Olney Road through the gates, straight ahead up the stairs. The outer door is open. There's a cart there. The inner door is locked, and you're welcome to drop those supplies off at that time. I'd like to just open it up to see what questions you all might have of Nicole, and maybe those of you who have worked with her either on the Thursday feeding or in the community garden. Anything you want to fill in?
I have a question.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Nicole, how has gardening affected your personal spiritual practice?
Well, I mean, obviously you're in touch with nature, and it's when I'm in the garden, it's the most grounded and peaceful I am at any time of the day. It's really cool because I mean you're growing stuff, and you can see life and change happen instantly. And just to even see how it's changed over a year and how it's just evolved and it continues to evolve, and it gives you hope that you can too. And it's really cool to watch these little baby plants start as little baby seeds and then get bigger, and then they go and they feed people. And so every time I'm out there, I always talk to them and tell them that they have a purpose and they have a value. And the garden and doing this has given me a purpose, and it's given me value. And I guess that's all you really want in life, is to feel valued and to have purpose. And I've gained that with the garden.
Beautifully said. Good question. Other questions or comments?
Carl, I
Let's
know
see
you had a
if-
question.
I'm limited by weather. I'm hoping that you could plant avocado trees and pineapple plants.
I mean, I'm willing to try anything, fun. I mean, they say you're supposed to plant due to your like zone or anything, but I'll try anything. Like bananas would be cool. I don't know how well they do, but it's worth a shot. You want an avocado tree, Carl? I'll get you an avocado tree.
I'm so proud of all you've done and how you've grown with it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I want to concur with Carl. And one of the things that was so wonderful to watch was your own wonder at God's grace as this whole vision began to unfold, and the people came and the resources came. It was great to behold.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy. It was just like this little idea that I had, and I can't even remember how it started. I mean, obviously, it started, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the right people at the right time came in to help, and that obviously, has to be God's grace, and it's done well, and it's continuing to flourish, and so it's kind of cool.
When we had coffee the other week, I called you a mustard seed, and that from the tiny mustard seed, a fruitful tree grows.
Yeah, and so it's gonna. I mean, it just keeps evolving, and so I like to see how big it can get. Yeah, but it's about 1,200 square feet, so that's a pretty good size. It's way bigger than the 3 beds that I wanted to start with, but
I think it's a bit of the kingdom too, the whole aspect of bringing people together in a time where there's so much that divides people, I think is an important work of God. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. for
Working
that.
in the vineyard.
Yes. Yeah, there was a reason Jesus used that image. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else has a comment or a question for Nicole? I don't want to keep her all the time because I know she's exhausted. So I want to make sure we take good care of you.
That's okay. I'll rest later.
Other questions or comments? Or suggestions?
Nicole, can
Who
you
is that?
also describe the, in the garden, you have the little house for pollinators, and there's something else like that too. So,
Oh, the pollinator
the fauna.
boxes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have some pollinator boxes in the garden, and those are really cool because they have really worked. There's so many different types. I mean, the bees are this summer were awesome. I'm allergic to them personally, but I know how great they are for plants and stuff, and so that's cool. And then we have a statue of Saint Francis. And then we have a little cross statue, and then we have a big cross statue that was donated by or given to the garden by George Pearson. It's a old iron cross and he came and he put it up, and it's really beautiful. And we're doing jasmine and bougainvillea up the cross. So,
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah. And then Vicki and I next Thursday, I plan on ordering some bulbs from Caring and Creations, and we put in a bed around the garden now as well, and so for flowers, and I'm planning to plant a lot of daffodils, so in the spring it'll just be aesthetically pleasing. So.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it's a thrilling thing you're doing. Before we move on, are there other questions or comments that you all would like to, or suggestions to Nicole?
Yeah, I will take any suggestion. Anything you want to do, you are more than welcome. It's, if you want to plant something, please be my guest.
Well, Nicole, just to second what Carl said, we are proud of you and proud of your faith that has kept you going in this, because it's a huge undertaking, but you've really gathered the people and you've done the work, and and it's been blessed, and it is a place of coming together for people and organizations, for Christ in St. Luke's and Ghent United Methodist, which is nice because I think it's gonna be that connect point that's going to allow us to do more things together, since we're right next door. So
Yeah.
we just cannot thank you enough. And if you if you need anything or you need more volunteers, please let us know. You can always come on this Zoom call and we'll rally the troops.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
And the other thing is that if you have any particular needs at a time, we could also set up a Saturday morning or a Saturday work day to work in the garden too, for calling all gardeners. So that would be an option too.
For sure. I'm gonna go and get the fruit trees in the next couple weeks. I think in about 2 weeks, and so I'll give an exact date, but that's gonna need some volunteers to dig some holes and plant some trees. And so I'm planning on doing some plum and pear trees, and then I bought some more strawberries and blueberry bushes that'll kind of go in between the trees, so it'll be like a berry tree patch.
Let us know when you have a date. I'll bring the coffee, of course.
Yes.
And some snacks, and we'll make it a community day.
Awesome. That'd be
Well,
so fun.
Nicole,
You
are
take care.
Nicole, are you back working in the restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
Same one?
No, I work at Bird and Baldwin Brothers Steakhouse now.
Okay.
Nicole,
Yes.
do you know there's a server there that's a very good gardener?
Lottie.
Yeah, he has
Mhm.
done beautiful work over there on Botetourt Gardens.
Yeah, he's gonna come and help.
Oh, wonderful! Well, you've got a real
Yeah.
pro. That's great.
Yeah, but yeah, we talked about it last night, so so that's cool. Yeah, I keep meeting awesome people that know how to garden and
Yeah.
show me tricks and are wanting to help. So
That's great.
yes,
You're in a
I
good
think
place
it's
to work.
always go ahead, Sue.
I was just saying, you're in a good place to work.
yeah, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, talk about farm to table. You're both.
yeah, yeah.
If I may, I'll rebroadcast something that Bill Moore addressed at the vestry meeting Thursday evening, that Nicole is worried about some way to provide hot meals on Thursday. And with our kitchen torn apart, any ideas of how that could be accomplished would be wonderful. A lot of
I
brilliant minds here on this page.
have an idea. I was gonna bring that up to Father Wynn and see if he could ask the Methodist Church if we could use their kitchen just to cook and then still hand out where we hand out the food now. So it wouldn't be anybody coming in to eat. It would still be a to-go thing, and it would be like not what we normally prepare in the soup kitchen, but just like one pot, like chilies or stews or soups. So it's just one container needed so they can, eat it on the go.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and you've really opened the door to some collaboration. The pastor there is great. It's great folks. Maybe if you and Vicky could put your heads together and write up what you need, and then I will be glad to put that in a note to the pastor there.
Thank you.
Well, we thank you and blessings.